Hey there, you're listening to the Girls Talking Life podcast, and I'm your host, Johanna. If you're like me, you love time with friends. I always leave feeling encouraged, inspired to try something different, or I've learned something new. So why not continue to grow even when we can't be with our girlfriends? We're not made to do life on our own. So in each episode of this show, I'll bring you a girl and her story to give you refreshing ideas to stir your soul. Let's walk this road together. Are you ready to talk life? Welcome to the show. I am so glad you're here. You are listening to The Summer of Joy, Favorite 5 episode part 1. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you might remember The Summer of George. Well, I'm declaring this the Summer of Joy. In fact, I already have here on the podcast and in my personal life. And I'm basing this on Psalm 16:11, which says, "You reveal the path of life to me. In your presence is abundant joy. At your right hand are eternal pleasures." So, it is the summer of joy around here, and while we know God is the true source of our joy, there are things or people or places that bring us joy too. On every episode, you might know, I ask my guest to share the 5 things that are her favorites. And on today's show, we're going to do a compilation of some of those favorites. We are talking food, drink, and books today. First up is books. A terrific book can definitely be something that brings you joy, and sometimes it's not even the book itself, but it's the time you take for yourself to do something that you love. And I love books. I love them so much, I get carried away, and I think I can read more than I actually can. You might be able to relate to this. I have an overabundance of books piled up around my house and even a couple in my car. One of the reasons I have so many is that I get so many great recommendations from the guests that come on my show. And a lot of them are authors with their own books. We are going to jump in and hear some favorite reads. You can find all the links for everything that we talk about in the show notes for today's episode on girlstalkinglife.com. Okay, let's jump in. My first guest joined me on episode 30, Kara Osborne. Kara is a wife and a mom who spends her days encouraging others to step forward into the things that the Lord has called them to. She has founded a faith-based health and wellness business and ministry called Wellness Witness. Here is Kara talking about a favorite book.
And then the 5th one I wrote down is Jess Connolly released a book called You're the Girl for the Job. And I've read it already, but I just keep going back to it. It is an anthem for anybody who's questioning where they're being called and where they're being sent and encouraging you to step forward into those places. So it's just a girl after my own heart in the ways that she's championing and equipping women to step forward.
I have that book.
Yes. Have you read it yet?
Chapter 1. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. She has a podcast too. It's Go and Tell Gals, but so good. So good.
I'm excited to dig in. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Full disclosure. I still haven't read much beyond the first chapter of this book, but I just dug it out of my book pile and I started on it again. I know it's going to be a really good one. Next up is Amy Laughlin. Actually, Amy's on the show twice today. Amy encourages women to abandon their self-imposed prisons of shame or unforgiveness, replace the limitation of bitterness with the progress of forgiveness, and accept true transformation. She was on episode 34, Living Unleashed, Walking in Freedom. She spent 7 years as a school counselor, 7 years as a stay-at-home mom, and now she's in her 7th year of ministry. Here's Amy.
My 5th favorite, that was 4 so far, right, is a book that I'm just slowly digging through, and it's called Naked Spirituality, or Naked if you're from the South like me. But it's by Brian McLaren.
Okay.
And I'm just really enjoying this book as far as he talks about 12 different words that build our spirituality, and it's starting from scratch and walking us through spiritual development. So I'm just recommending that book to a lot of friends right now.
You said you're slowly digging through it. Is it, you have to read a little and process?
I think so. I don't think it's a really fast read. I like to take a chapter or so and at a time and take some notes from that and stick it into an Evernote or, whatever I'm using at the time. But so yeah, it's not a terribly fast read, but it does have group discussion in the back. So I think it would be a great one to use, a small group study as well.
All right, there you go. If you're looking for a book to study with your small group, this could be it. Jessica Hoddle is next. She and I chatted on episode 38, Set Free from the Lies We Believe. Jessica's mission is to help women know their identity and worth come from Christ. She's a successful entrepreneur, author, speaker, and brings encouragement on her podcast, What's the Truth?, where she equips women to be set free from the lies they believe. Here's what Jessica had to say.
And then I love her new book by Andi Kobler. Hopefully I said her name right. But Try Softer, her book.
Okay,
really
what's that about?
It's all about trauma and healing and the whole compassion and kindness to yourself. But she does it in a way that's very understandable and relatable, and you can actually apply it really easily versus like the Body Keeps the Score book. It's a lot more in depth, and it's a really good book. Another book I recommend, but it's a lot more science and things like your brain really has to think about it, especially if you don't come from that area like me.
Right.
But Try Softer by Andi is just really good. And she loves Jesus. So she puts scripture in there and walks you through these process of what certain things look like in scripture. And so I really have loved that book.
Jessica gave us a 2-for-1 there. 2 books on healing from trauma, Try Softer, and The Body Keeps the Score. Next up is Amber Collum. Amber was on episode 50, Getting Rest and Giving Thanks. She is a wife, a mom, and host of the Grace Enough podcast, a podcast designed to encourage the believer that God can use you to impact his kingdom no matter your story.
There's a new book that I'm reading. Alyssa Childers is an apologist, and she became an apologist as a result of having her faith challenged like progressively in a church setting, actually by a pastor. And so she wrote this book called Another Gospel, and I just feel like it's so crucial to our time with all the progressive Christianity. So that is my absolute favorite book right now.
I have not read this book, but I was interested in learning more about it. And part of the book's description says, in a culture of endless questions, you need solid answers. If you or someone you love has encountered the ideas of progressive Christianity and aren't sure how to respond, Alyssa's journey will show you how to determine what's unmistakably true. That sounds like a powerful book. Our last recommendation comes from Jen Collins. Jen joined me on episode 52, What Mama Needs at Christmas. Jen is the owner and chief self-care officer of the Mama Needs subscription box and host of the Mama Needs podcast. Her mission is to help mamas understand the need for self-care and give them the tools and inspiration to prioritize it. Here's Jen. I want to ask you the question that I ask all my guests. What are your favorite 5? What are 5 things that you're watching or reading or maybe drinking right now that are your favorites?
Yes, I love this question. So right now I am reading a book by Michael Lynn Smith. She's also called The Nester. She came out with a book back in September called Welcome Home. And our family just moved recently. We moved in the beginning of August. We bought a home. That's a whole story in itself, a whole God story. But we finally have our own home after renting for years and years and years. So I am so excited to make this house our home, really reflect us. And so I love her book too. It's actually great for the holidays because the book is really about how to kind of decorate and get your home ready for the holidays without buying every single thing you see at Hobby Lobby or whatever. So I love her kind of simple way of decorating, very low cost, low budget. So I've used a lot of the principles in that book. So that's what I'm reading right now. It's a great coffee table book because it's beautiful as well.
I love The Nester. I have her first book.
Yes, I have all of the books. She's amazing. I love her style. That's kind of what I try to emulate.
All right, there you have it. Book favorites from past guests. Quite a good variety there, a great list. I hope that one spoke to you and you're adding it to your summer reading list right now. We're going to shift gears and jump into food and drinks next. And who am I kidding? It's mostly food. We've already heard from Amy Laughlin once, and she is back to tell us about her favorite food, sort of. Take a listen.
I would say another favorite 5 is a seasoning, and it's called Charlie's Choice. My husband, I think it was one of his hunting friends introduced it to him years ago. and he orders it in the case. It's a case load. My husband is an incredible cook. He can cook anything. I am not so much. I've got my few things, but it's one of those things that we put on everything.
Okay, that was my question. What do you use this for?
Gosh, that's what's so great. I'll put it in green beans or chicken pie or chili, or of course, Chad puts it on anything he throws on the grill. So if you're like me and you need some extra help, get some Charlie's Choice, and it's going to just take your cooking to the next level.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Very easy.
Amy cracks me up. If you need to spice things up in your kitchen, she says Charlie's Choice is your answer. I would love to know, have you heard of this before? Let me know if this is something that you have in your spice drawer. A second reappearance is Jessica Hoddle. She's also back for another recommendation. This time it is her favorite paleo snack.
I love these Lesser Evil cheese puffs. They're paleo cheese puffs. Don't get them if you don't want to eat the whole bag. I'm telling you, because they are the best.
Up next, we have Ruth Schwenk. Ruth was on episode 39, Becoming Better Moms by Becoming More Like Jesus. She is the founder of the popular blog, The Better Mom, and she is author of several books with HarperCollins and is a 2020 Christian Book Award winner. Here she is with a favorite drink.
I right now am loving from Trader Joe's this strawberry lemonade kombucha.
Oh,
okay. So it is like, it is the best. So I don't know if you like kombucha.
I have never tried that.
Oh my word, you have to try it.
Okay, well, Trader Joe's is my store, so I will be there Friday.
Oh, okay.
I'll pick it up.
So you have to get the strawberry lemonade one. My other favorite is like, there's a gingerade, I think it's called. I like that. But the strawberry lemonade, it's unreal. It's unreal. So that's my other favorite.
So I went to Trader Joe's the very next week after talking with Ruth, and I got myself some strawberry lemonade kombucha. And it is as good as Ruth says. Definitely give that one a try. Alana Dawson joined me on episode 41, Pursue Your Dream Now. She is a military spouse, a mama, and a podcast coach for busy women with a mission. She's the founder of the Mom Wants More podcast and the Podcasting Party. Alana is sharing another snack with us.
Kettle corn. Boom Chicka Pop has kettle corn. I know. But we're at home. Like, I need snacks, but I cannot eat the cookies and the chips all day long. And so, thank goodness, Boom Chicka Pop, I've been buying it in bulk, and I give myself one each afternoon if I need it. Not every afternoon, but I like their kettle corn.
This is one I'd like to try, but haven't yet. Like you heard earlier, Trader Joe's is where I do most of my shopping. So if I want something like Boom Chicka Pop, I have to plan for it and then make another stop. So it's on my list. I'm going to try that one, Alana. Next up is my good friend Chelsea DeMattis. Chelsea joined me on episode 44, Season of Rebellion. Chelsea is a wife, a stay-at-home mom, a devotional writer for IBelieve.com, and the podcast host of the Living with Less podcast. She also has a brand new book coming out this fall, More of Him, Less of Me, Living a Christ-Centered Life in a Me-Centered World. I'm looking forward to that.
My favorite thing that I'm eating right now, I don't know if Costco is all over the United States, but Costco has the best salsa. It's called Jack Cantina's salsa.
Okay. Is this a fresh salsa or like a jarred kind of thing?
It's jarred. And it is the best salsa in the entire world. I am a very picky salsa girl. So it is the best salsa.
For all you Costco lovers out there, that might be one you need to grab if it's not already a staple on your list. Okay, that wraps up food and drink favorites. I would love to know if you already eat, drink, or have read any of these. Or if you try any of the favorites that we talked about today, let me know. Be sure and find Girls Talking Life on Instagram or Facebook and share the books and snacks or the seasonings that are bringing you joy this summer. Friends, don't let the conversation stop when the show is over. Share your stories and start your own conversations with the girls in your life. I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Thanks for tuning in.